What if I told you that the single most annoying part of your kitchen routine, that gross moment when food gunk clogs the sink, can be fixed for less than the price of 2 cups of coffee? Today I am reviewing the Honmein 2-piece stainless steel sink strainer, a 4.5-inch drain basket that promises smooth drainage, safer edges, and a cleaner kitchen. It costs just 199 rupees for a pack of 2. So is this tiny upgrade actually worth it? Or is it just another shiny piece of metal? Let us find out. Let us be honest about kitchen sinks. In most Indian homes, the sink takes a heavy beating every single day. Rice grains, dal, tea leaves, vegetable peels, oil and soap water all end up going down that drain. Without a proper filter, food particles slip into the pipe, collect over time, and eventually you get slow drainage, bad smells, and in the worst case, a full clog that needs a plumber. Now, most kitchen sinks in India do come with a basic strainer. But those factory strainers often have large holes, thin metal and sharp edges that can nick your fingers when you empty them. Some rust within a few months, others simply do not fit properly, and food slides right past. So a good aftermarket strainer is one of those small purchases that quietly saves you money, time, and a lot of cleaning effort. That is exactly the gap the Honmein sink strainer is trying to fill. And at under 200 rupees, the entry cost is basically nothing. Okay, let us actually look at what you get in the box. Honmein sends you 2 identical sink strainers, each with a 4.5-inch outer diameter. They are made from bright, polished stainless steel. And out of the packaging, they genuinely look premium, almost like a mirror finish. Pick one up, and the first thing you notice is the weight. It feels solid, not flimsy or tinny. Flip it over, and you will see the star feature, a double-layer rim around the top edge. Instead of one thin sheet of metal folded over, Honmein has doubled it up, so there are no exposed sharp edges. That means when you scoop out wet waste with your fingers, you are not going to cut yourself. Small detail, big difference. Now let us get into the actual specifications, because this is where a cheap strainer and a good strainer really start to differ. First, the outer diameter is 4.5 inches, which is designed to sit on top of most standard Indian kitchen sink drains. The inner catch basin has a widened 3-inch diameter, and this matters more than you might think. A wider inner bowl means it can hold significantly more food waste before it starts to overflow or block water. If you cook 2 or 3 meals a day, you will notice you have to empty it less often. Second, the drainage holes. Honmein has gone with 2 mm perforations across the base and sides. 2 mm is a sweet spot. Go bigger, and rice grains and tea leaves slip right through. Go smaller, and water backs up because it cannot drain fast enough. 2 mm catches almost everything the size of a grain of rice while still letting soapy water flow smoothly. Third, the material. It is stainless steel, and Honmein specifically markets it as rust-proof. That is important in Indian kitchens where humidity, salt, and turmeric can eat through cheaper metals in months. Fourth, the double-layer construction. This is not just about safety, it also makes the rim stiffer, so the strainer sits flat in the drain and does not warp when you press down on it. And finally, cleaning. Because it is smooth polished steel with no complicated mesh weave, you just rinse it under the tap. Give it a wipe, and it looks new again. No trapped fibers, no stains. So who is this actually for? Scenario 1. The everyday home cook. You are washing rice, straining dal, rinsing vegetables. The 2 mm holes catch the fine debris that would normally slide into your pipes. Scenario 2. The tea and coffee household. Tea leaves and coffee grounds are notorious for building up in drains, and this strainer catches them beautifully. Scenario 3. Families with kids. Kids drop everything into the sink, from bits of chapati to small spoons. The wider inner basin gives you a bigger safety net. Scenario 4. Rented apartments and PG living. Because the strainer just sits on top of the drain, there is no installation, no plumber, nothing to screw in. You place it, and you are done. When you move out, you take it with you. Scenario 5. Backup and hygiene rotation. Since you get 2 in the pack, you can keep one in the sink while the other one is drying after a deep clean. That is genuinely useful. Now, in terms of variants, Honmein keeps things refreshingly simple with this product. There is essentially one configuration, the 4.5-inch outer diameter, 2-piece pack in stainless steel silver finish. There are no confusing size options, no color choices, and no premium versions to upsell you. Before you order, my one piece of advice is to actually measure your sink drain. Grab a ruler or a measuring tape and check the outer lip of your drain hole. If it is somewhere between 3.5 and 4.5 inches across, this strainer will sit properly. If your drain is unusually large, say 5 inches or more, which is rare in Indian kitchens but does happen in some modern modular setups, then you may need a larger aftermarket option. For the vast majority of sinks, though, the 4.5-inch size is the safe universal choice. And that is why Honmein has stuck with just this one variant. Alright, how does the Honmein stack up against the competition? I looked at 3 popular alternatives on Amazon India. First, the Velveri 2-piece strainer at 189 rupees. It is slightly cheaper, uses a fine mesh design, and is about 11.5 centimeters wide. Mesh strainers catch finer particles, but they are harder to clean and tend to bend over time. Second, the Inme 4-inch strainer at 169 rupees, proudly made in India, with a heavy-duty mesh build. It is the cheapest of the group and gets great feedback, but the 4-inch size is a touch smaller, so double-check your drain. Third, the Konquer Times single-piece strainer at 148 rupees with the same 2mm perforations and mirror polish, but you only get one piece instead of 2. Compared to all of these, the Honmein sits in the middle on price, but it is the only one that specifically highlights the double-layer safe edge, and you get 2 pieces plus a wider 3-inch inner basin. If safety and capacity matter to you, Honmein wins. If you want the absolute lowest price, Inme is tempting. So, final verdict. The Honmein 2-piece sink strainer is one of those quietly excellent purchases that punches well above its price. For 199 rupees, you get 2 solid, rust-resistant, well-finished strainers with genuinely thoughtful design touches like the double-layer rim and the widened inner basin. It is not glamorous, it will not impress your friends, but every single time you wash dishes for the next few years, it will do its job without any drama. The only real caveat is to measure your drain before ordering, because a strainer that does not fit is a strainer that does not work. If your sink drain is in the standard 4 to 4.5 inch range, I can comfortably recommend this. It is a small upgrade that pays back every single day. I would give it a strong 4 out of 5 for value, build quality, and everyday usefulness. If this review helped you, do hit the like button and subscribe for more honest reviews of everyday products that quietly make your life better. I will drop the Amazon link to the Honmein sink strainer in the description below, along with links to the alternatives I compared today, so you can pick whichever one suits your kitchen best. And tell me in the comments, what is the one tiny kitchen upgrade that changed your daily routine? I read every single reply. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.